Welcome to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips and tools to create the life you love, even if you might be facing adversities. This podcast is delivered alongside the International Childhood Cancer Charity, where we empower, in addition to emotionally and physically heal impoverished children with cancer globally, one child at a time. And this week, we are so honored and so thrilled to have Igor with us. Firstly, please correct me if I mispronounce your name, but we're very honored and thrilled to have Igor with us. Can you please share with our audience, what is it that you do?
Thank you so much for having me. It's Igor is the first name. And thank you for inviting me. It's really an honor. What an amazing thing that you are doing, and I'm very happy to be a part of it. What do I do? So I have developed a individual personality change program, a personality improvement program. It is called Master of Life Awareness. It is basically where I marry self-observation, self-awareness with self-regulation in order to improve oneself. And then I marry it with social awareness and relationship awareness and relationship regulation. So from observing self and regulating self better, we can then observe socially and regulate relationships better. I help people on that road to basically return to themselves, become the master that they are, reconnect with that source energy, and then have the answers through self-regulation inside out so that you stay independent and free.
Wow. So basically help people return to the master who they are and kind of create the results inside out. That is really beautiful. And that's not it's not one of these most common where everybody says, I want to grow up becoming a doctor or a nurse or an engineer.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
something you kind of like, you're growing up, you're like, I want to be doing all these things? Or is that something that you discover through your journey?
It is definitely this second part, something that I discovered through my journey. Although I've always been a person that people came to for answers. I've always enjoyed observing, listening, taking in information, and then making some conclusions based on questioning reality, all of this. But full honesty, no. When I was a little child, it was becoming a pilot, one of those things. Now, mind you, also my experience is a little bit different than other people, simply because as a teenager, when I was 13, 14 years old, I was born and raised in Sarajevo in Bosnia. So when I was 14, the war started here and lasted for 1,425 days. It is one of the longest sieges of a capital city in the history of modern warfare. So that changed me a lot. But then later on, after the war ended, I had an opportunity to go to United States, to go to the university. Then it is amazing how we sometimes it's as if we have short-term memory or selective memory. And when things are fun and great and enjoyable, we easily forget about all the difficulties that we've gone through in life. Lived the American dream, had a successful career in healthcare, lived in California, in San Francisco, one of the most beautiful cities on this planet, sort of got into that American dream. But it's called an American dream because you have to be asleep in order for it to be a dream. I like to say that. And then it's sort of, I woke up, everything crashed and collapsed, and I had to redefine myself. That's how the journey started. And now I'm basically living that life for myself and for other people. So yeah, a little bit yes and no, but if I'm fully honest, no. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot.
And that is beautiful. That's funny. I just have to laugh. It's just like the American dream because you have to be asleep. And for our audience here, some of you might have already catch it. You're not asleep physically, and so
Exactly,
that
exactly. It's very similar to when people say in an awakened state, right? This is my opinion. I believe we're all awakening. It's a never-ending process. It's constantly awakening to another insight, knowledge, to realize, oh my goodness, look, I believed that this is in a certain way, when in fact, when the veil is removed, it's, oh, this is something completely different. That's why I like to say, this idea. All of that comes beautifully and so naturally through self-observation and self-regulation, which is why I love this, everything that I do, and which is why I believe it's such a natural thing. It feels natural to my clients, to people that I introduce it to. It's like, oh my God, this is so natural. Well, it is, because it is your true nature. You're going back to yourself.
That's beautiful. That is awesome. Yeah, you go back to yourself after all this junk and all this. One of the guests here call it hypnosis from the word. From the moment you're able to, sometimes before you're even able to comprehend anything, right? And
Absolutely.
we met because of your books,
Yes.
the books that you read and share. Tell us a little more about your book project, which I just find it a little bit fascinating.
Yes, yes. Thank you for mentioning that. So yes, one of the things that I wanted to do, and I'll give you a full insight. Sort of, I sometimes share this, sometimes I don't. But initially, it really started for me. I wanted to read one book every week for a year, just to see if I can do it. There's a lot of talk out there about how beneficial this is, and how, it's not as easy to accomplish, and how can I accomplish it, and everything. I wanted to do it for my own credentials. So I wanted to have it recorded, right? Record the process. And so I started on this journey. Now, this year, I started season 7, where every week I read a book. The books are in the field of science, of medicine, of sociology, philosophy, psychology, mind, body, soul, how to improve your life, children and parenting. So everything that is actually applicable in your life, right? And that helps one understand self better in order to understand and accept others better. So I started doing this on my YouTube channel, and sort of started growing my audience, and then it became a weekly email that actually goes through my emailing list, and people that are on the emailing list get these books on a weekly basis. And it started attracting even more clients to me. And at this stage, I'm still going to continue doing this, but it helped me become a lot more comfortable in front of the camera, a lot more comfortable speaking. And now this year, I will actually start talking more about my own program, about Master of Life Awareness, so that people can hear what is my approach. When I'm doing books, this is how other people approach dealing with life. When I start talking myself, that's kind of what is going to be happening. And then also, I'm planning on interviewing the authors of these books, so to have it kind of even more interesting, kind of like what we are doing, but just interview these people whose books I've read. And I'll tell you what, it is like going to a gym for the brain. It has rewired my brain completely. I've dealt with a lot of my own conscious and subconscious programming, beliefs, habits that needed to be changed. I see patterns differently. I mentioned to you when we chatted before a little bit, I also listen to the books being read out to me, which definitely helps with active listening and improves your listening skills. It is an amazing thing. I really highly recommend it to everyone to just start reading, and you'll get into it. And the cool thing, the mathematics behind it is because an average book has around 60,000 words. One person reads around 320 words. Basically, when you calculate it out, it becomes that every day, if you do read 45 minutes a day, you will read one book in 7 days. 45 minutes is not bad at all. 45 minutes, I can set out an hour for myself. It's me and books time. And then if I do it consistently on a daily basis, I'm creating a new habit, which is always good. I'm doing something that is helping me improve myself, which then in return improves the world. And I'm gaining more knowledge, which then I can apply. So 45 minutes a day will give you a book in a week. Then suddenly this number became a lot more attainable. It wasn't as difficult. It's like 45 minutes. Of course, I can do 45 minutes a day. Started it, never looked back. And like I said, it's now season 7 started this year.
And you mentioned the voiceover, and some people
Yes.
listen to Audible or something, but you also mentioned the voiceover function. And
Correct.
sometimes some of us might be in a state of life, say, I don't have 45 minutes a day, but you know, you have the collectively 45 minutes a day when you are walking the dog and preparing the kids lunch and so forth. Now ideally you're not distracted, but hey, it's better than nothing, right? And so that is awesome. So how do you choose your books?
What a great question. And yes, everything that you said, absolutely. Once we discover that, first of all, we're using our energy to then create time and space for whatever activities we want to accomplish. Something clicks, everything changes. Then it's about investing energy, attention, and time for some sort of a quality that we get back in life. Instead of focusing on time management and, balance life and work, it's all life and it's all our energy. And so you can start picking and choosing these little bits and pieces and organizing them the way you want to, hence self-regulating. At this stage, they just come to me. I don't even know. Sometimes I have people recommend them to me, obviously, either to my emails or as comments on social media and things of that nature. Sometimes in a conversation, someone will say, hey, have you seen this or check this out? To me, it is one of the beautiful things that the universe does for me. They just come. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it. And lately, especially last year, they beautifully came in covering topics that were happening around us, that were really significant, that can help me and that can help others deal with whatever is happening in the world around us. So, short answer, I surrender and they just come to me, and they always come the right ones in the right place. Every so often, I will see something and I will say, well, I would like to. That's sometimes if I do an autobiography, it's something that is of interest to me. But otherwise, they just kind of come and flow one after another at this stage. It's really become a part of me. It truly is.
That's beautiful. You guided with your book to serve people. It's amazing. I love that because I do something called Dance Away Sadness, which is using music and freestyle dancing to help people. And
Beautiful.
it's like, you'll be like with me, you'll be like at the grocery or something, and then something come to you. You're like, oh yeah, I better put that music in in the roster, right? And then the next thing you know is somebody just needed that. So that is beautiful. And so the other questions that I would have, this is the International Childhood Cancer Charity. And with this, many of our audience, and actually in general, if we really look at our own life in general, we notice we can tell that many of us living this life, particularly in this modern day and age, we face challenges and we face these adversities and things in life, and so it might be cancer, it might be financial, it might be a romantic relationship, it might be a career. And so from all your experience and from all your books, what are 2 or 3 tips that you might be able to share for our audience in navigating life challenges such that we're able to continue to thrive and feel at ease even when we're moving through life?
Beautiful question, and so important, especially in the world that we live in today with so much information. How do you process this information? And no one has actually taught us, how do I gather information? How do I clean it? How do I process it? Goodness, which ones would I like to share? Well, number one, I would like to remind everyone to slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. Everyone is in so much hurry, rush. I got to catch up. I got to catch up. I got to catch up. It's a beautiful thing when we discover that if we even stand still and allow for things to pass us by, it is okay. Other things are coming, other developments are going to be in front of us. So remember to slow down. Reduce your heart rate, slow down, and you will see life with different eyes. Slow down. And you can combine that with slow down and reduce the noise. So much noise externally out there, so much noise internally in here. If I can slow down and reduce the noise, I can return to my nature. That nature physically in my physical body will create a different biology, different chemistry, different heart rate, different brain wave, different amount of oxygen being taken in. You already are a different kind of a being that then you can start using your cognition to resolve any experiences that we are going through. Another thing that I would like to remind everyone, we know all these things, we just sometimes need reminders. Listening. Wow, what a beautiful thing listening is. Listening to ourselves, to our body, to our heart, to our thoughts, to what is going on internally before even going out there, because if you think about it, there's 2 ears. Everyone says this, right? 2 ears, one mouth. So can we at least listen twice as much, twice as good as we are when we're speaking? So slowing down and reducing the noise, listening is another beautiful one. And the final one is that I will give people, you do have the power to self-regulate via breath. So nothing fancy, nothing woo-woo, nothing out there. Breath is life. If you use your breath, you can balance your central nervous system. Via breath, you can change your heart rate variability. You can go from 100 to 57. Or if you need to go higher, you can go higher. With your breath, you can focus, you can shift focus. With your breath, you can change your brain waves. With your breath, you can bring heat to your organism. Breath literally is life. So I would like to remind everyone of breath, and that when situations are tough and difficult, slow down, reduce the noise, take a couple of deep breaths, and then just listen prior to trying to use your cognition to resolve all the things that are being thrown at us. Very simple, yet we keep on forgetting these things. I always remind people, go back to the state of ease. From a state of ease, use cognition, because our cognition more often than not gets us into a place of dis-ease, disbalance, disharmony. So always go back to state of ease, and you can do this with breath. Just a minute of breathing takes you back to ease. Then use cognition to move forward through whatever life might throw at you. Because as long as you're still breathing, guess what? You're here. There's a chance for magic.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And sometimes people forget about that. It's kind of like the concept to slow down to speed up. Not really you trying to speed up, not that you slow down and then you rush, but it's actually when you slow down.
Exactly.
Sometimes people misunderstood. They're like, slow down so I can have the energy to speed up. No, it's when you slow down, you are like you said, with your breath, and when you listen, you breathe, you slow down, you listen, you breathe more, you're able to, even if you just trying to solve a problem, you think more clearly, and that will allow you
Absolutely.
to receive the solution faster than if you're thinking in a panic mode. And so,
Absolutely. Absolutely beautifully said. And you're absolutely right. Yeah, experientially, for everyone out there listening to this, experientially, think about this. Isn't it true that when you slow down, you can process more stuff? When you're speeding and rushing, oh my God, it just all kind of shrinks this way and you're only focusing one thing. When you're focusing, suddenly there's so much more awareness. That's the trick when you beautifully say slow down to literally be able to gain the speed of light because you are light. So yeah, beautifully said.
I have the funniest experience, or to me, it's just a little hilarious somehow. I'm at the state nowadays in my life where it doesn't matter where I go and what I do. I'm able to connect in general.
Mhm.
And talking about slowing down to speed up. So we have gas station here in the US, and that some of them are very popular and because of multiple reasons. And the line can be absurdly long. And we're
Yes.
talking about super long line. Now I go to these gas stations comfortably, knowing that every time as I arrive there, centered in and connect,
Mhm.
like you say, to myself, to my higher self, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And I ask,
Yes.
and I will receive the shortest line. I just get
Mhm.
directed, go this way, and that way I will be in the shortest line. And
Yes.
same thing with parking and another thing. And and kind of almost like magical for some people, right? And then I have
Yes.
this experience. I have somebody that connected with me. I'm a grief specialist, and somebody connected with me and needed help and asked for an intensive, which is
Yes.
like back to back to back to back a few days in a row. And I said, okay, and I really want to help this person, which also means I have to reschedule and juggle everything and cram additional about 5 hours a day into my day. And there was
Yes.
a part of me that was like, okay, I will do this, I can do this. And it was little awareness from me, but apparently there's even if you're not physically doing this, but if your energy, your mindset is rushing. I went to get this gas. After I decide to do this, I'm like, I'm gonna get gas. And there's a part of me that apparently was rushing and therefore not listening. And I got there and said, okay, I'm to get gas. And I got into a lane that's moving very fast, actually, compared to most people. But I noticed there's another lane that's shorter and move faster. And I asked myself, well, what is that? Why am I not in that lane? And my heart told me, you were rushing.
Mhm.
When you rush, you slower instead of faster.
And it's exactly, it's such a, the world is full of paradoxes. And that's one beautiful one that you described. People think that if I speed up, I will catch up without realizing if you speed up, you're just increasing the possibility that you will crash and burn, right? Literally. And that's what people do. They speed up, and then they just crash and burn because it's not how it works. Literally, the way it works is you sit down and you do nothing, and then everything happens, which is difficult for people to grasp until you experience it. But that's literally how it is, because using your imagination from the invisible, unknown, your imagination can somehow literally become physical, material, manifested reality. That right there tells you everything. All you need is imagination and then a couple of things that follow through. You get into some momentum. And like you said, if you slow down and allow for the flow to happen, it just happens. If
Yeah.
you rush, like you said, you're much slower.
And we can use nature as example. I tend to say here in California and here even more in Nevada, you have the desert out there. And you can look at plant, and I'm talking about plant that live out in nature, it's not in your front
Mhm.
yard, because sometimes
Yes.
it's well, it's in the plant, because a lot of people say Well, you know what? Yeah, it's great concept, but I got to do this, and now I have to be able to provide, and I have to be able to do this. Look at the plant that is out in nature that thrive on their own without people putting in fertilizers and watering them, right? Those
Yes.
plants do need to survive many times in a really harsh condition, like the desert,
Yes.
and none of them rushing.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so I love that. Now, from the book that you have read, so many of them,
Yes.
do you have two or three that you can recommend to our audience as
Yes.
we navigate through life?
Yes. Great question, and thank you for asking this. The one book that I highly recommend is actually called The Logos of Now. Give me just one second. The Logos of Now, Conscious Language. Yeah, this is the name of the title. Conscious Language, The Logos of Now. Our thoughts create reality. It's something we've heard, it's something we've experienced, we know. So our thoughts, they become our words, then our words affect everything. This book deals with conscious use of language. We're not even aware as how much unconsciously language programming we're doing to ourselves just because something is, oh, but that's how you say it, or that, well, that's just a phrase, or no. Once you fully understand the power of your words, because words are spells. This is why in English it is called spelling. I can literally put you under a spell using words. This book is definitely my starting point for anyone. And also it helps you leap forward once you start realizing, oh, as you observe yourself to self-manage and self-regulate, you're going to start noticing some of the things that you are saying that you don't really mean and that is not really serving you at all. So Conscious Language, The Logos of Now, is definitely one book that I would highly recommend. You know, there's so many. I do like this one a lot. It is not necessarily as advanced book. The idea might be advanced to some people, but it's really not. The one that I started this season with, which is Your Next Five Moves. Your Next Five Moves. So basically, the conscious language, the logos of now, it is Robert Stevenson, and if you just Google it, you can find it. The Your Next Five Moves, Master the Art of Business Strategy, and not necessarily business strategy, just everything in life. If you are honest with yourself and you look at your life, you will quickly come to an understanding, an observation without judgment. Again, just an observation. This is what's happening, not saying good, bad, or anything like that. More often than not, we are one thought, one act, one action type of people. Okay, somebody calls you, somebody annoys you, and you're like, well, I'm just going to call them off and tell them off. Well, what have you done? Very few people say, okay, good. Once you do that, the response is either going to be positive or negative. If it's a positive response, what will you do next? If it's a negative response, what will you do next? And then if you can plan 1, 2, 3, 5, the author of the book says 5 is the sweet spot for all the overachievers out there. Yeah, you could do 10, 11. No, 5 is the sweet spot because it's just challenging enough and just easy enough where you want to do it. Life changes. You start seeing these patterns much quicker, much easier, that it almost looks as if you can predict the future. And you're not necessarily predicting future. You've just seen all these moves so many times that you can say, based on, okay, so this person, you can actually predict what people are going to say. So a very good, I really, really enjoyed it. It came later, I guess, for me, but a wonderful one. And for the third book, let's see. Well, let me just go to, I'm going to go real quick to my site and
Who's the author for the second one? Just so people get it correctly.
say that again. I'm sorry, you were cutting off. Oh, the author, the author of Your Next 5 Moves is Patrick Bet David. Patrick David. If you type in Patrick David, it should come up. Your Next 5 Moves. My goodness, there's so many good ones here. Let me see if my goodness, Polymath was really good. Let's see something about, I'm just kind of scrolling here to see some of them. Well, why not? Since we said this is a good one. I mean, it's really Patrick King and How to Listen with Intention. We'll keep it simple that way. So, conscious language, how to use language consciously to improve self, improve your overall surroundings, your reality. How to listen with intention, meaning how to listen to understand, to grow, to expand, to be able to then consciously use language to literally affect reality. And then if you can talk consciously and listen with attention, if you can plan your next 5 moves, then if you can, as Bob Proctor used to say, if you can see it in your mind, you can see it in your hand.
That is so beautiful. That is so lovely. You mentioned earlier that you have an email. Our people can learn more from you and work with you, and also discovers your interpretations and excerpts and from these books, and you share about the summary of the book, all this. How do people connect with you? How do they learn what you learn from the book?
Yes, thank you so much. So there's a couple of ways. The easiest way is if you go to my website, which is sfwalker.com. SF for San Francisco, Walker for walking. So sfwalker.com, sfwalker.com. There you can do some cool free stuff. There's a beautiful human needs psychology test that will tell you which basic human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior, whether you know it or not. So really a cool thing. It's not a personality test. It's sort of a snapshot to see where your focus is and what are you driven by, what motivates you. That's one way to get onto the emailing list, to contact me, to reach me, and to kind of follow what I'm doing. And then sfwalker.com/knowledge. sfwalker.com/knowledge. This is where you can see the list of over 300 books there. You can buy, they're linked to Amazon if you want to purchase them books. You can, and then that page will take you to my YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is SF Walker YouTube channel, where you can watch the videos. What I do is I go on walks in nature. So you can enjoy some beautiful nature and listen to a summary to go back to what you were saying for some of the people that actually are trying to combine some space and time into the 45 minutes interval. Usually 20 minutes are my videos, and they give you a wonderful summary. They pull out some most important things from the book. Then if you wish to go forward and purchase the book, then you purchase the book and study it. But so those are some of the ways people can find me. SF Walker YouTube channel, my SF Walker website. On it, there's the human needs test, and there's a page with all the books that you can get on an emailing list to either work with me or just follow along and get some of these books. And also the podcast is Master of Life Awareness. Currently, on the podcast, there's only just the books that are on the YouTube channel. But this season, I'm going to start to interview some of the authors of these books, and I will start talking more about how does one master one's own awareness of life. So those are some of the ways that you can reach out and find me.
That is beautiful. And yes, if you cannot comprehend 45 minutes a day, even just as you run doing chores, you can do 20 minutes a week
Yes.
and start there and step by step grow your space for you. That is so beautiful. And as we complete our time together, thank you so much for your amazing insight and share. as we complete our time together today, do you have one final message for our listener?
First of all, I want to thank you for this beautiful opportunity. I want to thank all of your listeners, and I'm sending them love and good wishes and joy and happiness and all that good stuff. The message, I'm just going to go back to my tagline, the philosophy of life: slow down, reduce the noise, walk your life into a natural flow.
That is super awesome. That is really awesome. Slow down and
Reduce the noise and
reduce the
simply
noise.
walk your life into its natural flow. Just go for a walk. No agenda. Go for a walk. Allow for nature to get you back to your natural rhythm. Then start
So,
experimenting and having fun. Yes.
as we say earlier, allow each and every one of us to go back to who we are.
Yes.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Igor. That's such a beautiful, beautiful message and conversations. And I thank you very, very much. And for you, my friend, who are listening to this, thank you for joining us today. And please share these conversations with your friends and families, because we all want and deserve to be at ease and to thrive, to be able to navigate through life with more ease and create what it is that we would love. And I thank you so much for joining us. This is Dr. BirgitteTan, your host with the International Childhood Cancer Charity and your grief specialist. I care about you very, very much, and I look forward